So starting with our card reading for our full moon in Sagittarius during Gemini season, it is the World Tree. This is the first card that fell out of the deck, and it's the one that I actually pulled back in our very first moon meditation, all the way back to March. This one is, if you've never dealt with tarot, let me just give you a quick high level. Tarot decks in general, and this one is the Wildwood Tarot. If you're new to it, Jane, you might be the one that's newest to it. Are built with major arcana cards. These cards represent archetypes and kind of what we're asked to embody on a macrocosm, as well as on a personal level. And then there are the minor arcana, which are kind of like, think of your suits, and it has the earth, air, fire, earth, air, fire. Which one am I missing?
Water.
You got it, Emily. Tell me.
Water.
I can't hear you. That's weird.
Water.
Water. Yeah, girl. I knew it. Thank you. Welcome to my Friday. So the idea being that major arcana, and this is the major arcana, there's 22 cards total. This is the 21st card. The first card in the major arcana is actually the Fool. It's 0. The idea that we're entering on a journey. In this deck, it's called the Wanderer. And then the World Tree, the final card in the major arcana, signifies endings. It signifies, and here's what I wrote. So, ancestry, the ritual of walking the labyrinth, the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. What really came through for me here, and it's definitely been part of my personal practice, is looking back in order to move forward. That our ancestry is so crucial and critical to our understanding of our identities today, so that we can come from a place of choice and agency to decide who we want to be tomorrow. That part of, I think, in my opinion, what's happening at a collective level is that there's been a dismissiveness or an ignorance or inability to validate the shared ancestry of an entire group of people in our country in particular. And I think the World Tree is inviting us to end that cycle and to start anew and say, I see you. I cannot speak for my past, but I can answer to what I'm being called to do in my present, so I can help shape the future. The idea that there has to be acknowledgement of the past in order to move forward. And whether that resonates for you personally or collectively, I just wanted to share that that's what came up for me. Some questions, if you're somebody who wants to journal, or just as we enter the meditation, you want to kind of ponder or marinate on these. What is the meaning of your current journey? From the individual and or the micro experience, where are you seeing how your journey fits into the collective or the macro experience? And then these are just some thoughts, but if they work for you or resonate for your journal experience, feel free to take them as well. Viewing life as a cycle of seasons. The idea that winter is a season of rest and rejuvenation, and maybe death and loss as well. That the spring is this new birth and energy coming into our lives. That the summer is a time for power, for joy, for celebration. And that autumn is a time for maturity and harvest and reconnecting with the year prior before we enter into that rest season again. And I also, in reading this card, really felt the idea that life and death are inextricably linked, that we are here because of our ancestors, because of the struggles that they went through, because of the perseverance that they had. I did a program, Renee and I, who's on the Zoom call, did a Bhakti program back in February. And one of our teachers hosted this manifesting mastery class in which we had many journal prompts around our past selves, our current selves, our future selves, which are really powerful. I'd be happy to share on another forum. But one of them was to write a letter to your ancestors. And it's funny, as I was reading these cards earlier, my journal flipped open to that page again. Like, I don't think anything's an accident. That for me was the letter I wrote to my ancestors, and it just reminded me that part of my journey that's gotten me where I am, that's allowed me the confidence to buy a freaking microphone and have a Zoom call with you guys and talk about this stuff. Like 6 months ago, that was not something I would have thought I would do. I want to be clear. But the work that I've tried to do on understanding where I come from, what my roots are, um, has been really significant in giving me the confidence, or at least the drive, because sometimes you don't feel confident, but you do it anyway, to start to step more into what I think is my dharma. I've been into astrology since I was like 0 years old. And I was always told it was like woo woo and witchcraft and BS and not provable. And I realized that, like, yeah, you're right. And all those things are pretty badass and I'm really into them. So I'm just going to keep going with it. So World Tree is this overarching invitation to look at what brought you to where you are now, whether it's in this generation or generations you've never even known about, to explore the ritual of the labyrinth. Um, Labyrinths are not mazes, they're different. Labyrinths have a clear beginning and a clear end, and they're the same. And so it's this beautiful paradox that a labyrinth isn't meant to get you lost or confused. The labyrinth is actually meant to help you find who you were all along, but it's the process that gets you there. There's a labyrinth really close to where I live, and I try to walk it when I can. I try to walk it, especially when I'm going through tough times. Even if I just put on my favorite song and like walk the labyrinth. But it's this 20-minute mindful moment to really just connect with. If I just walk step by step and breathe, what comes through? Instead of feeling like you have to apologize for years of your ancestors, or you have to give forgiveness for others for things that were done to you and your ancestors, or whatever it might be, what if you just went through the process and the ritual of discovery, allowing what shows up to show up and giving it space? Okay, I know that's a lot, but that's a pretty big card. And as a collective, in my experience, in pulling this card for my own practice, it usually means the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. So the next card I pulled was the Page of Arrows, which is the wren, which is a bird. Arrows are air, so a little more masculine energy. They are about movement. They are about sharing ideas. Gemini is an air sign. We are in Gemini season. We have some lovely Geminis here today with us. The cerebral, the rational, but also creative, also really communicative. Page of Arrows. So pages is part of the court cards. So there's major arcana, which we talked about. There's minor arcana, and then there's court cards. And court cards are all about mastery, lessons in really honing in on a specific lesson. So here's what I wrote for Page of Arrows. Beginnings, birth, a beginner's mindset. How can you engage flexibly in a situation? This is from the book also. What gives you strength, knowledge, and confidence to face the situation? So if from the get-go you kind of had a thought in your mind, whether it's the fallout from George Floyd, whether it's COVID, whether it's something more personal to you, a relationship, a change, a transformation, what do you need to learn to overcome? What is the mystery at the heart of the matter? And I was thinking about mystery because I've been doing life coaching with a yoga teacher who I really admire, and she's become a huge mentor to me. And I was having a lot of trouble at work, and she kind of said, because I said, I keep seeing these signs everywhere, Marnie, like I'm seeing like a single glove here, a single sock there. Like, what's going on? Why can't what do you think it all means? And she just like looked at me and was like, what do you think it means? And I was like, I think it means I think there's something missing that I need to pick up. And she was like, sounds like that's what it means. I was like, wait, what? There's no like definition of the symbol I saw. But the idea that like mystery is that you don't always get to know, but it also leaves room for you to listen to your intuition. And so being an air sign, it is like rational thinking, but it is leaving that creative sort of beginner's mindset that like you don't know, and that's okay. You're not supposed to. I also wrote that as part of our learning, as part of our coming to terms with or grips with, lessons around the world tree, like that humility is a part of it, that willingness to listen is a part of it. Beginners' mindsets in general, because pages from a court card perspective are the youngest, if you will, with kings being the most mature in their wisdom. The idea that, are you used to being the fixer, the doer, the giver, or the solver of problems? And if you were to adopt this page of arrows, this beginner's mindset, it's not that you would stop doing anything or stop motion or thinking, but what if you use this time to listen, to rest, to read, to learn? Page of arrows is very much about learning. Whether it's from a higher institution or it's a personal practice or a training. That's what came through for me and in the reading we did. So third card then, 9 of arrows. And 9 of arrows. So another arrows card, another air card. And 9, so of the cards, it goes from ace to 10. If you're familiar with playing card deck, it's the same way for our minor arcana. And it's a woman who has a bow and arrow in her hand, and she's kind of playing it almost like an instrument. And then all around her, 8 other arrows are coming towards her, but it's as if she has this protective shield around her. So the arrows are not coming, they're not penetrating the shield. So for 9 of arrows, this idea that dedication to a greater good. That's the name of the card, by the way, dedication. Self-discipline, sincerity, being a spiritual warrior, practicing daily rituals. For me, what came up is that this card, she has a threat coming towards her, but she's not defending herself by fighting or by putting up barriers that are physical. Instead, she's like kind of playing make-believe. Like she's kind of in her creative world pretending that her bow and arrow are musical instruments. And part of when you dive deeper into this is she has a sense of peace about her. And part of it is because she has been dedicating herself to daily rituals and practices that allow her to find that inner peace. So whether it's a yoga practice or a meditation practice or a practice of gratitude or journaling or of walking or whatever it is, for some of us it's running, for some of us it's playing music. If you were to look at your daily rituals, so the things you do every day, which rituals really serve you? Like, which do you know without a shadow of a doubt? Like, my morning walk is so critical to my well-being and my health, and I'm dedicated to prioritizing my daily walk, versus which don't serve. I can tell you, for me, sometimes I wonder if my daily coffee really serves me. It's delicious and delightful. But I also know I'm really sensitive to caffeine. So that's something I've been wrestling with since, like, I don't know, 2005, probably. But yeah, if that's something that serves for you in a journal practice, like maybe thinking through if I did a daily inventory of what I do every day, which ones am I like, hell yeah, that works. That's great. And I get so much out of it in a way that, like, when things come at me that I can't control, I know that daily practice is an anchor for me. It'll bring me back. Another one for me has become, besides meditation, chanting mantra. That is something that has just changed the way I'm able to build myself back up every day. It's not that I chant mantra and suddenly I have a protective shield that no arrow will hit me, but rather it shows me where I'm letting arrows in because I've left myself vulnerable by not dedicating time to myself. Does that make sense? Okay. I know this reading's a little long, so thank you for sticking with me. I felt like the cards were really trying to, like, tell us some shit though. So the last one then, and this one, so interesting. You guys ever used a deck and you put it down? So let me just walk you through what happened. The first 2 ones fell out while I was shuffling, and then the third one I pulled. And then I put the rest of the deck down, and like, no shit, the top card just literally slid off and landed softly onto the 3 I had already pulled. And I was like, okay. So I guess you want everyone to see this one. It is 19 dedication, or sorry, 19 son of life, excuse me. It's this figure who is standing proudly in front of the bright burning sun, and he has sun emanating from his heart space. And there's sort of this exuberance, this celebration, this joy. This is number 19 in the major arcana. So remember, we pulled number 21, and now we have number 19 as well. So also far along in the journey of the major arcana. So these both are kind of very aligned to full moon energy, like endings. And whenever we're ending one thing, it usually means we're starting to begin another. And so here's what came up: fire, fertility, summer, growth, bringer of life. The idea that, and the card description goes into this, when you really go back to our ancestry, right? Like prehistoric peoples, almost every civilization worshiped a sun god or sun deity. And the reason is really simple and yet really complex. The sun is the giver of life. The sun is what allows crops to bloom in places that had 4 seasons. The sun is what brings the summer and the celebration, the growth of crops, the blooming of new life, the fertility. I mean, if you think of all of the ancient rituals around May, springtime, leading into summer, it's all around procreation. It's all around building anew. You've rested all summer. Spring is about new growth and planting. And then summer's about the joy of like, yes, we finally have food. So the fact that ancient cultures worship the sun, it's kind of like our Western modern culture is like, oh, those pagans, what did they know? But really, they knew a lot. They were honoring the fact that we have this star that is the reason we live on Earth. There's no other planet that we know of in our solar system at this current time that has life on it. The sun and our position to the sun is a miracle. It allows for the very diverse life we have on Earth to grow. So all that's to say, the simplicity of honoring that which brings us life, joy, and abundance. The idea that you don't have to worship the sun because you think it's a religious symbol, but rather that you honor the fact that it is the giver of life. And really what the sun represents is our universal consciousness, because it's a star and the solar system is full of them. Excuse me, the universe is full of them. Universal consciousness and creation, it's really honing in on the complex yet simple source of life. The idea that like the sun is actually, the book said this, I don't know dip about nuclear fusion, but like the sun houses the secrets of nuclear fusion that we as humans are trying to harness on Earth, right? Like the sun's just built that way. It already does it naturally. We are made of stars. We're all connected. You can think of it that way. You can think of it as, and this is kind of what I'll leave us with. I really liked this quote from the guidebook. Can you see beyond the noise and clatter of human reality and become aware of the vastness and generosity of the cosmic soul? The idea that the sun is a symbol, a representation, and a practical celestial body that brings life and joy and abundance. I mean, I know y'all probably saw it out for us in Northern Virginia, DC area. Phase 1 just started a week ago. People are out. People are loving it. The sun's out. Like, it's warm. It's summer. We got to get outside. We got to do stuff. And part of me is like, it's too soon. Everyone chill out. But then the other part of me is like, I get it. This is like programmed in our DNA from all of our ancestry. Like the sun is a symbol that like it's safe to be human again. The winter is this sign of like, yo, go chill, reflect, rest. You've got a spring coming and you need to work hard in the spring to plant the seeds so that your summer can be joyful and abundant. So what I interpret that as well is that we are entering in a summer season of our macrocosm, though it might feel otherwise. But it's going to require us to have discipline, the dedication card. It's going to require us to listen and study ourselves, the Ren, the Page of Arrows card. And it's going to require an acknowledgement of what's come before us, the world tree, so that we can walk the path, so that we can honor what is already transpired, the good, the bad, the ugly. And then we can start to build a new future together. And so let us meditate. Please find the most comfortable position you can. You are welcome to stay seated, but it is not a requirement. If you at any point fall asleep, it means that you needed to sleep and you still meditated. It counts. Cover up. Find softness in your eyelids. Find heaviness in your hips and shoulders so that they can be at ease. Allow yourself a few breaths to just come into presence. Allow yourself to feel the rhythm of your breath as it moves naturally in and out. Maybe you begin to hear the natural sounds of the rain that just began outside my window, and allow the noise to be peaceful. Allow it to lull you into a place of relaxation, of peace, of acceptance for this moment. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Do that twice more. In, out. Do one more. Empty your air. Just continue your breath just like this. Allow yourself freedom to make any adjustments to your physical body that might not feel quite yet comfortable, quite yet at ease. Imagine that your thoughts are like drops of rain, that once they hit the surface, they just become part of the ground, spreading and permeating, cleansing away. Allow the breath to move with ease. Find heaviness under your heart space, under your hips. Begin to bring your eyes to the attention of your third eye, drawing them upward and inward to the seat of your intuition, the place that is knowing, the place that knows that your safety requires your evolution, that you're here on earth not to just play it small, but that those moments of, am I worthy? Do I have enough? Those are the moments the intuition asks you to rise up, to breathe through it, to remember who you are. The eyes draw up to your third eye, and you begin to imagine a labyrinth in front of you. The labyrinth leads you to the world tree, this big, majestic, strong, and wise tree that lives deep in the forest of your heart. Breathe in. Breathe out. Set an intention for yourself as you approach the labyrinth and you know that this labyrinth leads you to the entrance of the world tree, that the process is the destination. You only need to breathe and put one foot in front of the other. Set your intention, whether it's aligned to acknowledging your ancestry or the shared ancestry of our collective, aligned to your ability to learn from, be a beginner in this journey. The dedication, the daily practices you wish to call into your life. And the season of joy and abundance that awaits you when you can integrate the honoring of the past, the learning of the present, and the practices that build you into your future. Continue your breath in and out. With your intention set, your heart full, and your beginner's mindset strong, begin to step into the labyrinth, one foot at a time, walking the path. Observe your feet as they step one in front of the other. Notice the surface underneath your feet. Notice what the path looks like. As you walk, you begin to take in the smells. You begin to notice the sound. Maybe it's raining on your trip in the labyrinth, just like it's raining here. Notice if this is a path you're walking by yourself or if anyone has joined you. Human, spirit, animal, plant. Notice the sensations on your skin. Notice the feeling in your heart as you walk the path and it begins to wind around. As you begin to take the switch back in the other direction, knowing that the brain wants to believe this is backtracking, moving backwards in time or progress, but the process of the labyrinth is an acknowledgement that going back is part of moving forward. We don't go back to get stuck. We go back to acknowledge and honor what has come before us, to give it reverence, to accept accountability or responsibility where and when we can, and to allow space for healing when and where we can. As you recall your intention and continue to walk the labyrinth, one step at a time, breathing. Begin to bring intention and attention to any thoughts that arise, any areas where you feel compelled to honor the past, to honor yourself, to forgive yourself. As you walk one foot, one step at a time. Pade, pade. Begin to make your way inward towards the center of the labyrinth, walking the curves, finding yourself close to the epicenter, and you begin to notice and recall where a beginner's mindset has benefited you in the past. Maybe it's the humility to work through an injury, to start fresh, getting to know your body in a different way. Maybe it's the loss of a relationship or a job or a dream or a loved one. Remembering, yes, the pain, yes, the discomfort and the fear, and also remembering how the ability to be humble and sincere allowed you to grow stronger than you were prior. You make your way all the way to the center, and you take a moment to look around, seeing where you began, and suddenly you realize where you began is where the world tree sits. You take a deep breath here. You take a deep breath out. You reaffirm your attention to your intention. And you begin your way back out of the labyrinth, knowing that where you started is where you will end. And yet it's a completely new place for you to arrive to. With no rush, you continue one foot in front of the other, making your way out the way you went in. Walking slowly but surely and steadily. Walking with purpose and yet finding the humility to accept whatever comes your way. Finding the strength and the boundary to know that you do not have to accept everything. Part of having that beginner's mindset is the ability to see where your dedication to daily practices serve you and where they don't. You make your way out of the middle and towards the edges of the labyrinth. Just a few more switchbacks until you reach the tree, and you give yourself each step to think through which daily practice, which habit, which devotional time in my life do I have that serves? It should bring a smile to your face and a warmth in your heart. And if it doesn't, maybe you question, or you think of one that would, that doesn't yet live in your daily life. The power of the full moon in a sign that is so dedicated to higher education, to travel, to expansion, to luck, to hope, is such a beautiful time to begin a new cycle, to see the possibility where you could add value to your daily practices. Maybe you've always dreamed of being someone who could meditate every day. This labyrinth, this process invites you to be a beginner, to remember that you're not supposed to know it all. You get to learn. You are on the outer edge and ring of the labyrinth now, making your final trek to the world tree, and you look up at it. You can smell the beautiful scent of wood, of leaves, of vibrant life and foliage. And though it might be raining, maybe you begin to see the sun peeking out from behind the branches of the tree, showing you that hope is here, change has arrived, that you need not force or work harder or grind or suffer in order to see change, but rather by simply acknowledging from where you come, that you are made of star stuff, that you are both uniquely yourself and completely connected to all. And you approach the tree. You place your hands on the tree, noticing the journey from the beginning to now, where it took you, how you feel, what you know, and where you're still unsure. Accepting that uncertainty is part of the process. How long will it take? How will I know? Who will help me? Is it okay? The World Tree asks you to look inside. The World Tree sends you a message that you are so loved and supported. And anything that you do out of sincerity and love and truth will always be supported by the universe. You begin to see a door materialize on the front of the World Tree. Just notice what it looks like, the color. Does it have a door handle, a knocker? Does it push or pull? You're invited to step in, open the door, and walk through into the center of this enormous, life-giving tree. What do you see inside? Take it all in. Allow yourself to sit down in the middle of the tree, noticing that it's like you've been transported to a different world. Take a breath in and take a breath out. The tree asks you to come back to your intention that you set at the beginning of the process, the beginning of the journey, the labyrinth. And the tree asks you to set a new one. Where do you see the joy and abundance in the summer of your life coming through for the highest and best of yourself and those you love? How can you share that? And before you share it, how can you cultivate it within you without a doubt that you deserve it? Whatever comes to mind, let it flow here. No judgment, no fear. If anything that pops up brings you fear, allow it, like the rain, to just drop down and dissipate. See that it just wants to keep you safe from evolving, from changing. Bless it, give it love, and let it know that you are ready. Seal your intention here. Let the words "and so it is" come through in your third eye and feel it in your whole body. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Do that again, in, out. This is your last breath here. Let it empty. I will read to you an intention for all of humanity at this point. You are welcome to begin taking small movements to wake up your body, to bring your headspace back to the present moment with no rush. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be wild, happy, and free. May all who have ever felt small, unloved, unworthy, in fear for their safety, in fear of their government, unsafe in their home or family or relationship, unsafe in their job or workplace, unsafe in their own thoughts, find safety and solace and healing. May all who have ever been judged, harmed, discriminated against, persecuted, killed because of the color of their skin be granted love and safety and peace and justice. May all humans everywhere open their eyes, wake up, see with clear vision the atrocities of racism which occur every single day. May all humans everywhere speak up, speak out in the name of love and peace against fear and hate. May all humans everywhere find space within themselves to forgive and love and accept their humanity, to find truth within themselves that we are all connected. At our core, we are all love, and we all deserve love, safety, and peace. May all beings everywhere understand that Black Lives Matter. Greed and racism will never prevail when we see our truth. We are connected. We are love. We are arbiters of peace. But we must choose to see it in ourselves first, that we might find it in others. May all beings everywhere be wild, happy, free from prejudice, racism, murder, lynching, losing sons and daughters, hate, and fear. May all beings everywhere be wild, happy, and free. Begin to deepen your breath. Move your body, hands and feet to start. Deepen by moving arms and legs. If laying down feels really nice, there's no pressure to get up. Just begin to bring your consciousness back to the current moment. And amidst this coming back to presence, find a comfortable place to sit. As you do that, I will grab the final card, the deck for our guidance to leave us as we close out our meditation. Okay, so I have to practice my own what I preach. I love leaving the windows open when it rains. So I hope that was, first of all, I hope that was nice and you guys could hear that. But second of all, I left my deck of cards near the window. So cool. Those are going to be warped now. Awesome. So I'm going to pull from a goddess deck because I like it and it's pretty badass. And that's pretty much it. And we'll just pick one card. And they have pretty pithy, like short, nice, sweet guidance. Please know if at any point as you come back, like if you want to share anything in the chat box. Last few times people haven't wanted to share, but this is a Sagittarius full moon in Gemini season. So maybe we're feeling more communicative. Last time was Taurus, Scorpio, and those are both a little more, I guess you could say intensely inward energies. So like if you want to share what the path looked like, or if you want to share what your door looked like or what your intention was, feel free as I pull the card. Final guidance. Beep. Ooh, Rhea, flow. Okay, let's look what she has to say. I'm not super familiar with Rhea, so this will be fun. I'm learning too. Do you notice how when you're in alignment with the universe, everything in your life just seems to flow? The Greek goddess Rhea, whose very name means flow and ease, comes to let you know that you're entering such a time. While the flow state is not permanent for most people, it's a beautiful feeling that allows you to lose yourself in the rhythm. It's as if you're traveling down a magic stream where ideas and insights pour through you from a vast source of information that is gifted to you. The way to ensure you remain in this beautiful energy as long as you can is to observe your life with relaxed attention, listening to the guidance presented to you in a way, presented to you as you move forward without restraint or fixed ideas. You can enter a flow state. You guys, sorry, remember how my eyes were all effed up last time? I got blue shade glasses, so give me a second here. Okay, here we go. You can enter a flow state anytime you're willing to release your expectations. It requires trust in the goddess Rhea, ensures your sorry, Instagram people, get over it. Where is it? Ensures your boat will never capsize as you move from a slow stream to a rapid river. That was so dramatic, wasn't it? It's like I did a poetry reading. But that's kind of cool. I like that Rhea is basically saying the work is not to do more work. The work is to let it flow to you and trust the guidance you're receiving. I would love to hear if you have a different thought or interpretation. But yeah, that's it, you guys. We're at an hour. I'm really grateful that you came. If you want to share anything with the group, either by voice or by chat, please feel, welcome to do so. How is the microphone? Cool. Does it sound good? Cool. Sound better? Awesome. You guys are awesome. Let me know if you need anything from me. If you have any questions, you don't want to share them with the group, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You probably know how to reach me by email or otherwise. But you guys have a lovely Friday, and Renee, Saturday. Lovely to see you guys. And Sherry, your dog was so cute as I was waking everyone up. Is it she like side-eyed me, like got right up in the camera and was like, lady, wake him up. Awesome. You guys were awesome. Have a good night. It's so good to see you. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Teresa. Yeah. Bye, guys. Bye, Insta. Have a lovely day, too. I love you, Nikki. Goodbye. End. Goodbye.